True freedom begins where attachment ends. Do you ever feel like the harder you try to let go, the more stuck you feel? You're not alone. Clinging to the past isn't just holding you back, it's stealing your peace, your clarity, and your future. Most people misunderstand detachment, and it's time to do it right. Letting go isn't easy, and it's often mistaken. Many believe that detachment means becoming cold, distant, or uncaring. But the truth is, healthy detachment brings balance, clarity, and an inner sense of freedom that most never experience. It's not about running from emotions, it's about freeing yourself from their control. When was the last time you felt truly free? Not free to move or act, but emotionally unburdened, unshackled from the expectations, regrets, and fears that quietly dictate our lives. Emotional freedom begins with understanding the invisible threads of attachment that weigh us down. Attachment often starts subtly, a memory you can't forget, a relationship you struggle to repair, or a future outcome you obsess over. Over time, these threads tighten, creating emotional weight that drains your peace and clarity. This is the unseen burden most people carry, convincing themselves it's necessary or unavoidable. The truth is, emotional freedom doesn't come from avoiding emotions or severing relationships. It's about releasing the need to control what's outside your power while embracing clarity and balance within. Today, we are going to set the stage for transformation. Detachment isn't about walking away. It's about living with presence, balance, and intention. It's choosing to let go of what doesn't serve your highest self. The freedom you're seeking isn't out of reach. It's within you, waiting for space to grow. What does it mean to truly let go? For many, detachment feels like a contradiction. How can you care deeply and still let go? The answer lies in understanding what detachment is and what it isn't. Detachment doesn't mean shutting down your emotions or turning away from life. It's about releasing the unhealthy grip of control over outcomes. Imagine holding sand in your hand. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it slips through your fingers. Letting go doesn't mean dropping the sand. It means loosening your grip to appreciate its presence fully. True detachment allows you to remain engaged and compassionate without losing your sense of self. It's about loving fully while understanding that you cannot control everything. This balance is where peace begins, as you stop exhausting yourself trying to fix, hold, or force situations that are beyond your control. The challenge is that attachment feels safe. We cling to it because it promises security, validation, or identity. But attachment often creates the very pain we wish to avoid. It keeps us tied to toxic relationships, regrets from the past, or fears about the future. Detachment, on the other hand, teaches us that our peace isn't dependent on external circumstances. It comes from within. Consider this. When you hold on to expectations or people out of fear, you are surrendering your own power. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you free yourself from the illusion that controlling the uncontrollable will bring you happiness. In fact, detachment can deepen your relationships and experiences. When you no longer cling out of fear, you create space for genuine connection, allowing others to be themselves without the weight of unrealistic expectations. This freedom also extends to yourself. You are no longer bound by the need to be perfect or prove your worth through constant striving. By embracing detachment, you reclaim your energy and focus. Instead of wasting it on things outside your control, you redirect it toward meaningful action and self-compassion. Letting go becomes an act of empowerment, not surrender. In this chapter, you'll learn that detachment isn't about indifference, but intentionality. It's the ability to live fully in the present while releasing the fears and attachments that tether you to suffering. By shifting your perspective on detachment, you can transform how you live and love. True freedom lies in letting go of what you cannot control and finding joy in what you can. This isn't about abandoning life, it's about fully embracing it, unburdened by the weight of what no longer serves you. Most people misunderstand detachment because it goes against what we've been taught about strength and resilience. Society celebrates persistence and control, qualities that seem to clash with the idea of letting go. Yet, this misunderstanding is exactly why 98% fail to detach effectively, leaving them stuck in cycles of frustration and emotional weight. One common misconception is that detachment means avoiding emotions entirely. People often think they need to suppress their feelings to let go, leading to a sense of emptiness or disconnection. But genuine detachment isn't about denial, it's about acceptance. It's the act of recognizing your emotions, understanding their roots, and releasing the need for them to dictate your life. Another trap is the rush to move on. In their eagerness to detach, many people bypass the process of truly addressing their pain. Imagine trying to forget a painful memory by forcing it out of your mind. The harder you push, the more it resurfaces, tightening its hold. Letting go isn't about forgetting. It's about integrating the experience and finding peace within it. Cultural narratives also contribute to this misunderstanding. Strength is often equated with stoicism, the ability to endure without showing vulnerability. This belief teaches people to bury their emotions rather than confront them. However, detachment requires courage, the courage to face your feelings, acknowledge their presence, and still choose freedom over control. Let's take a common scenario. Someone trying to let go of a failed relationship. They might tell themselves, "I'm over it," while avoiding any reminders or discussions about it. But this isn't detachment. It's suppression. True detachment allows you to confront the loss, feel the sadness, and still move forward without being anchored by it. Another frequent error is confusing detachment with indifference. Many fear that letting go means losing passion, connection, or the ability to care deeply. But in truth, detachment amplifies these experiences. By releasing fear and control, you can engage more authentically with life and others. Detachment removes the weight of expectations, freeing you to love and act without ulterior motives or hidden anxieties. Finally, people often mistake detachment for a destination rather than a practice. They believe they must achieve a perfect state of letting go, where they are unaffected by anything. This impossible standard sets them up for failure. Detachment is not about being unshakable. It's about being adaptable. It's a journey of returning to balance again and again, no matter how many times life pulls you off course. In this chapter, we'll explore these misconceptions in depth, revealing the subtle ways they keep you stuck. By understanding where people go wrong, you can avoid the traps that hinder genuine release. True detachment isn't about avoiding life. It's about stepping into it with clarity, balance, and strength. Letting go isn't an act of weakness. It's the ultimate expression of inner power. Why is letting go so hard? The answer lies deep in our psychology. Emotional attachment isn't just a habit. It's a mechanism shaped by our brains, experiences, and instincts. To truly detach, we must first understand what keeps us tethered. At its core, attachment is a survival strategy. From infancy, humans form bonds to ensure safety and belonging. These connections, while essential, can evolve into unhealthy attachments when we equate them with self-worth or stability. For example, staying in a toxic relationship often stems from the fear of losing security, even when it no longer serves us. Attachment theory explains that early experiences influence how people connect with others. If love or care was inconsistent in childhood, it can lead to anxious attachments in adulthood, a tendency to cling tightly to people or outcomes out of fear of abandonment. On the other hand, avoidant attachment develops when individuals suppress their emotions, mistaking emotional distance for strength. Both patterns create obstacles to genuine detachment. The brain's reward system also plays a powerful role. When love, validation, or success is experienced, dopamine is released, creating feelings of pleasure. Over time, this reinforces attachments to people, memories, or achievements, even when they become detrimental. The brain craves what is familiar, even if it's harmful, because familiarity feels safe. Cultural norms amplify these tendencies. Messages like "never give up" and "fight for what you love" equate attachment with strength and loyalty, even when holding on causes suffering. These narratives make it difficult to recognize when it's time to let go, as the act of releasing can feel like failure or betrayal. Fear of the unknown also keeps people tethered. Letting go can feel like stepping into uncertainty, triggering primal instincts to cling to what is known. This fear creates a cycle where individuals hold on to situations, relationships, or outcomes simply to avoid the discomfort of change. Breaking free from attachment begins with awareness. Identifying the fears, beliefs, and patterns that hold you back is the first step. Imagine a rope with knots, each one representing a fear, memory, or expectation. By untangling these knots, clarity and emotional freedom become possible. Detachment doesn't mean abandoning goals, relationships, or emotions. It's about finding balance and approaching life with a clear mind and open heart. Releasing the need to control what cannot be controlled creates space for deeper, more authentic connections and a greater sense of peace. Think of a tree shedding its leaves in autumn. The tree doesn't resist the process. It trusts that letting go is necessary for renewal and growth. In the same way, detachment allows you to release what no longer serves you, creating room for new possibilities to emerge. Letting go isn't a rejection of life. It's an embrace of it. When you understand the roots of attachment, you can meet yourself with compassion, untangle harmful patterns, and step into a lighter, freer version of yourself. Letting go isn't a simple decision. It's a deeply emotional process, often blocked by powerful barriers like fear, guilt, and insecurity. These emotions act as walls, keeping us stuck in cycles of attachment, even when we know we need to move forward. Understanding and addressing these barriers is essential to finding freedom. Fear is one of the most pervasive obstacles. It arises from the unknown. What will happen if I let go? This uncertainty triggers primal instincts, making us cling to what's familiar, even when it causes pain. For instance, someone might stay in an unfulfilling job out of fear of financial instability, sacrificing long-term happiness for a sense of short-term security. Fear doesn't always appear as dramatic panic. Often it manifests as hesitation, self-doubt, or a quiet refusal to change. It convinces you that staying where you are, even if it's uncomfortable, is safer than venturing into the unknown. Guilt often follows closely behind. It whispers that letting go means abandoning responsibilities, failing others, or breaking commitments. This guilt can stem from cultural expectations, family dynamics, or personal values that place others' needs above your own. For example, you might feel guilty about leaving a relationship, even when it's toxic, because you worry about hurting the other person or being seen as selfish. This emotional burden convinces you that holding on is the right thing to do, even as it slowly depletes your energy and well-being. Insecurity plays a significant role, creating a narrative that letting go will leave you incomplete or unworthy. This feeling is especially strong when your identity has become intertwined with the attachment, whether it's a career, a relationship, or even a long-held goal. The thought of releasing something that defines you can trigger fears of irrelevance or inadequacy. For instance, someone whose self-worth is tied to their professional success might struggle to let go of a job that no longer fulfills them. Insecurity whispers that without this attachment, you will lose your value or sense of purpose. These barriers aren't signs of weakness, They are deeply human responses designed to protect you from perceived threats. However, they often backfire, creating more suffering by keeping you stuck in patterns that no longer serve your growth. Recognizing fear, guilt, and insecurity as temporary states rather than permanent truths is a critical step toward releasing their hold. Compassion is one of the most effective tools for addressing these barriers. Instead of judging yourself for experiencing these emotions, approach them with curiosity and understanding. Ask yourself, what are these feelings trying to protect me from? Often, fear signals a need for safety, guilt reflects care for others, and insecurity highlights areas where you seek validation. By understanding their roots, you can begin to respond in a way that honors your emotional needs without staying tethered to harmful attachments. Practical strategies can help ease the grip of these barriers. Visualization exercises are especially effective for confronting fear. Imagine yourself stepping into uncertainty and finding not chaos, but calm and opportunity. For guilt, journaling can reveal whether your feelings are rooted in genuine accountability or an exaggerated sense of obligation. Affirmations and daily reflection practices can counter insecurity, reminding you that your worth isn't dependent on external factors. By integrating these tools into your life, the walls of fear, guilt, and insecurity begin to loosen. Each step you take, no matter how small, creates space for clarity and peace. Letting go isn't just an emotional process, it's a practice that requires deliberate effort and unique techniques to break free from the patterns that keep you stuck. While familiar strategies like journaling and affirmations have their place, true detachment often calls for deeper, less conventional methods that address the root of emotional resistance. One effective approach is sensory grounding. This technique redirects your focus to the present moment by engaging your senses, breaking the loop of attachment-driven thoughts. For instance, when you feel overwhelmed by an unresolved relationship or a lingering regret, immerse yourself in an activity that demands your full sensory attention, like cooking a meal with bold flavors or walking barefoot on grass. The goal isn't distraction, but a reconnection with the immediate world, helping you loosen the grip of emotional entanglement. Another powerful tool is symbolic release rituals. Humans are deeply symbolic creatures, and using rituals to represent the act of letting go can create profound shifts. For example, write down what you want to release on a piece of paper, then shred or burn it in a controlled and safe environment. The physical act of destruction mirrors the emotional release, sending a clear signal to your subconscious that it's time to move on. You might also use objects tied to an attachment, such as a gift or memento, and bury, donate, or transform them into something new. Pattern interruption is another valuable technique. Attachments thrive on repetition, replaying memories, revisiting conversations, or imagining alternative outcomes. Breaking this cycle requires intentional disruption. The next time you find yourself lost in attachment-related thoughts, do something unexpected. Blast your favorite music and dance, jump into a cold shower, or take a different route home. The abrupt shift in activity halts the mental spiral, giving you a chance to reframe your perspective. For those struggling with attachments tied to relationships, consider the practice of energetic cord cutting. This visualization technique involves imagining the invisible connections between you and the person or situation as cords of energy. Visualize yourself gently severing these cords, one by one, using an imagined tool like scissors or light. The goal isn't to sever the relationship itself, but to release the unhealthy energy that keeps you tethered. This method can be especially effective when combined with deep breathing to reinforce the sense of release. A less common but highly effective method is mirror dialogue. Stand in front of a mirror and speak directly to the attachment as though it were a person. Express everything you feel: anger, sadness, confusion, or even gratitude. By externalizing these emotions, you create space for release. This process allows you to confront what's inside without judgment, helping you detach emotionally while honoring the experience. Detachment also benefits from time reframing exercises. When attachments feel overwhelming, it's often because we place too much weight on their immediate significance. Visualize yourself years into the future, looking back on the current moment. Ask yourself, how much will this matter then? This perspective helps reduce the emotional intensity tied to the present, allowing you to approach the situation with greater clarity and calm. Consistency is important, but it doesn't mean rigid discipline. Instead, think of these techniques as tools in a box, accessible when needed, adaptable to the moment. Detachment isn't about erasing emotions or memories, but about creating space for new perspectives and growth. Applying mindfulness to your life creates a bridge between your emotions and your ability to let go. Attachments, whether to past mistakes or uncertain futures, often thrive on your mind's inability to remain in the present. By using the present moment as a tool, mindfulness helps dissolve these emotional ties and brings clarity to what truly matters. One of the first steps in mindfulness is learning to observe your thoughts without judgment. Attachments often manifest as repetitive mental loops, memories, worries, or what-if scenarios. Instead of trying to suppress these thoughts, acknowledge them with neutrality. For example, if a regret surfaces, recognize it for what it is. This is regret. Labeling thoughts creates distance and reduces their emotional charge, making them easier to release. Mindfulness also encourages a connection with your physical state. Attachments don't just exist in your mind. They affect your body as well. Tension in your shoulders, a tight chest, or shallow breathing can all be signs of attachment weighing on you. Use mindful breathing to ground yourself. Take slow, deep breaths, focusing on the sensation of air entering and leaving your lungs. Each exhale represents a step away from attachment and toward the present moment. The present moment becomes even more powerful when you integrate mindfulness into everyday activities. Simple acts like preparing a meal, walking, or even washing your hands offer opportunities to practice awareness. Focus entirely on what you're doing, the texture of the food, the rhythm of your steps, or the feel of water on your skin. These small moments of presence chip away at the control attachments have over your thoughts and emotions. For attachments tied to relationships or unresolved feelings, mindfulness offers a path to emotional clarity. Consider practicing reflective silence, where you dedicate time to sit quietly with your emotions without reacting to them. If a thought or feeling arises, observe it and allow it to pass naturally. This practice reduces the grip of attachments by breaking the habit of immediate emotional reaction. Another effective approach is mindful communication. When interacting with others, focus entirely on the conversation. Avoid thinking about what you'll say next or how the conversation reflects on you. Instead, listen fully and respond intentionally. This level of presence not only strengthens your relationships, but also reduces the anxiety and expectations that attachments often create. Applying mindfulness to dissolve attachments requires consistency. It's not about achieving perfection, but about creating small, meaningful moments of awareness throughout your day. Each time you bring your attention to the present moment, you weaken the power of attachments rooted in the past or future. The journey of letting go is a shared human experience. It's filled with moments of struggle, self-discovery, and transformation. Although each person's path is unique, the emotions we face, heartbreak, fear, and hope, connect us all. The process of detachment challenges us to release what no longer serves us and embrace the possibilities that come with change. Heartbreak often feels like one of the heaviest burdens. It leaves a mark, creating a longing for something that has been lost. The pain isn't just about the loss itself, It's tied to the memories, dreams, and expectations that remain. Detachment in these moments doesn't mean forgetting or suppressing those feelings. Instead, it means learning to hold those memories gently, without letting them define the future. When facing heartbreak, it's common to replay moments in your mind, searching for ways you could have changed the outcome. This mental cycle, while natural, often deepens the attachment. Letting go starts by acknowledging the emotions rather than fighting them. It's about allowing yourself to grieve what was and, with time, finding strength in the lessons those experiences bring. Change also brings its own set of challenges. Whether expected or sudden, transitions disrupt the sense of stability that attachments often provide. Detachment here involves stepping into uncertainty with courage. It requires acknowledging the discomfort of leaving the familiar behind, while trusting that new experiences will bring growth and clarity. Change forces us to confront the parts of ourselves that rely on routine and predictability. This confrontation is difficult, but it's also where transformation begins. For many, change triggers a fear of losing control. Attachments to stability, routines, or relationships create a sense of security, even when they no longer serve us. Letting go of these attachments means facing that fear head-on and trusting that you have the resilience to adapt. This trust doesn't come naturally. It's built slowly, through small acts of release that show you can survive, even thrive, without the things you once held so tightly. The practice of letting go in these moments often begins with self-awareness, asking questions like, what am I truly holding on to? And what would it feel like to release this? Opens the door to understanding your attachment. This process isn't about finding quick answers, it's about creating space for reflection and allowing emotions to surface naturally. Embracing change through detachment also invites you to redefine your sense of self. Attachments often tie your identity to external factors, relationships, careers, or expectations. Releasing these attachments doesn't mean losing yourself. It means rediscovering the parts of you that exist beyond those ties. Who are you without the roles you've played or the labels you've worn? This exploration can feel disorienting at first, but it's a chance to reconnect with your core self, the one that remains regardless of external circumstances. The path to detachment isn't linear. There are moments of progress and setbacks, times when the weight feels lighter and others when it seems unbearable. These fluctuations are a natural part of the process. What matters is continuing to take small steps toward release, trusting that each step brings you closer to freedom. Detachment is not an act of erasure. It's an act of integration. It's about allowing your experiences to exist without being bound by them. It's about recognizing the lessons and strength that come from letting go, even when it feels impossible. Detachment doesn't mean forgetting the past or dismissing its significance. Instead, it's about finding a way to carry it lightly, so it no longer controls your present or shapes your future. The courage to let go comes from within. It's not about avoiding pain, but about meeting it with compassion and understanding. This process transforms heartbreak into resilience and change into opportunity, revealing the freedom that lies on the other side of release. Integrating detachment into everyday life requires consistency and intention. Detachment isn't something you practice only during moments of crisis. It's a mindset that, when woven into your routines, creates long-term emotional freedom. Small, deliberate habits help you navigate life's challenges with clarity and balance. A foundational step is creating space for reflection. Set aside a few minutes each day to pause and ask yourself, what am I holding on to today? This simple question brings awareness to attachments you may not have noticed. Over time, this practice trains your mind to recognize when emotional weight begins to build, allowing you to address it before it becomes overwhelming. Another habit to cultivate is practicing deliberate release. At the end of each day, take a moment to reflect on what you no longer need to carry. This could be a regret, an unresolved argument, or even an expectation that didn't materialize. Acknowledge it, thank it for the lesson it brought, and consciously let it go. Writing this down can reinforce the act, creating a tangible ritual that signals closure. Physical routines also play a crucial role. Activities like yoga, stretching, or even a quiet walk allow your body to release stored tension caused by attachment-driven thoughts. These practices create a connection between physical and emotional release, reinforcing the principle that letting go happens on multiple levels. Detachment also involves reframing your relationship with control. Begin noticing situations where you attempt to force outcomes, whether in conversations, work projects, or personal goals. Ask yourself, am I truly in control here? More often than not, you'll find that control is an illusion. By releasing the need to control every detail, you open yourself to outcomes you may not have considered, often with surprising and positive results. Long-term detachment also requires resilience. Life will inevitably present situations that challenge your progress, moments of disappointment, loss, or unexpected change. When these arise, return to the habits you've cultivated. Trust in the process, knowing that detachment isn't about perfection, but persistence. Even with the best intentions, detachment can sometimes lead to unintended consequences. These detachment traps often arise from misinterpreting its purpose, turning a practice of freedom into one of restriction. Recognizing these traps helps you stay aligned with the true essence of letting go. One of these traps is confusing detachment with indifference. Genuine detachment doesn't mean you stop caring about people, experiences, or outcomes. It means you release the need to control them. Indifference, by contrast, shuts off emotional engagement, leaving relationships and opportunities stagnant. Another pitfall is using detachment to justify emotional disconnection. While boundaries are essential, detachment shouldn't be a tool for avoiding emotional intimacy or difficult conversations. True detachment fosters connection by removing the fear and expectation that often cloud interactions. Finally, some people approach detachment as an all-or-nothing goal. They believe they must detach completely from every aspect of life to avoid pain. This rigid approach can lead to isolation and a lack of emotional depth. Authentic detachment balances freedom with connection, allowing you to engage with life fully while remaining grounded. By understanding these traps, you preserve the integrity of your journey. Authentic detachment isn't about shutting yourself off. It's about showing up with presence, clarity, and an open heart. True freedom begins where attachment ends. Throughout this journey, we've explored the depths of detachment, understanding its meaning, navigating misconceptions, and applying practical tools to release what no longer serves you. Now, it's time to bring all these pieces together, empowering you to move forward with clarity and purpose. Detachment isn't about erasing the past or becoming unaffected by life. It's about approaching experiences with balance, allowing emotions to flow without being consumed by them. Each step toward letting go strengthens your ability to live authentically, unburdened by unnecessary weight. To embrace true freedom, start by acknowledging how far you've come. Reflect on the attachments you've begun to release and the space they've created for new possibilities. Detachment is a process, not a one-time act, and every small step contributes to lasting change. Building a life of detachment also means staying open to the future. Attachments often grow from a desire for certainty, but freedom comes from trusting the unknown. Letting go doesn't mean you lose control. It means you shift your focus to what you can influence, your thoughts, actions, and mindset. In moments of doubt, return to the practices that ground you, whether it's mindful breathing, reflective journaling, or simply taking a pause, these habits remind you of your power to release and reset. Detachment isn't a destination, it's a way of living, one that invites you to meet life with curiosity and grace. True freedom lies in the ability to let go of what was, embrace what is, and remain open to what will be.